This conference
Yeah.
will now be recorded.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Again, give me that option.
Give you the option. It's saying you're an organizer too.
I see. Okay, then fine. Yeah, let me share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Then make sure to know after this session only you can check that whether that recording is really happening and all. So once you get a confirmation, you can confirm. I mean, you can just give a confirmation to me once
Mm-hmm.
that this video session is available. Otherwise, from tomorrow onwards, I will do from my side, and I will find some other ways to send those videos to you, like through
Okay.
email or some other channels.
Okay. But
Okay.
yeah, I can show
Hmm.
you what
Yeah.
I worked on if you want.
Yeah, okay. You want to show something?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now you are the presenter. You can show me.
So I did work on it, and this is what I had. Only this part I need to fix, and then spacing in between, but everything else I got.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the code.
Okay.
And for this part, there's supposed to be a space in between, so I didn't know if I was supposed to break it up and then somehow put space or with padding or like for here. And
Mm-hmm.
then I don't know how to do like, how do I make this here and here and stay? Do I
No
do,
issues. Yeah, yeah. No
yeah,
issues. No issues. Yeah, we can build everything. No problem. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
I'm
tried.
sharing. Yeah. I'm sharing my screen back, and yeah, I'll explain everything to you. Don't worry.
Mm,
Okay. We have this layout, right?
mm-hmm,
And this is the reference that we have. Yeah. So when it comes to this, we have order now. We have an image here, right?
mm-hmm,
And yeah. So what I'm trying to do here is, in order now, I'm going to create one more div for this right side place. Okay,
mm, mm,
this because this is a text and this is a button, so I'm going to put, yeah, here, and let me give some heading to it like H4.
mm,
Okay, and after that there is a button called order now. Okay, we have a form elements in HTML, so we didn't cover that form element so far. So I thought to take complete one session for a forms, but anyhow, we have a button, right? Order now.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a button element. Okay, it comes as a button only in the same way. So whatever the content we have like an order now between these buttons, we can keep that order now. So there is another alternative also for button. Instead of writing, we can write input type button also. That is a different element compared to this button. So
Mm-hmm.
there are all input elements and different attributes we have in HTML. We will only focus on one specific session only on form elements. Okay,
Mm,
yeah. So by the time just keep remember this button as one of the form element. Okay. Yeah,
okay.
so now we have a order now and we have a IMG, and I created a one more div for these two. And for
Mm,
this I created one H4. I mean, instead of, there is no such a rule that we should take only H4. Okay, so you can run the show with P element as well.
yeah, I
Paragraph
use.
also you can give. Yeah, so there is no, that's what I'm trying to say. No, there is no specific thing, you have to use only this one. Okay,
Mm,
there is no rule because we don't know how this guys has been used this. See, if you look at
mm,
this, there is no P and there is no H1. Simply they have used only div. Okay,
yeah.
so that's up to our choice. Okay,
Okay.
so now I'm
Mm,
saving this, and when coming to our output, Yeah, now you can see search for pickup, delivery, output, and whatever it is. Okay, now we can say that why in this entire this order now div we have image. After that we have a div content. Obviously, div is the black element. Okay, it is
Mm-hmm.
not going to it is not going to come on the same line of this image because image is the inline element where div is not. So wherever you write div, obviously it is going to start new line only. It is going to take a new line only. It will form a new line. So that is the
Yeah.
reason once you see image is once you see image div here, right? It is taking another line and all this content and all is showing like this. Okay. So now how we need if you see this entire box again, there is a two contents here. So one is on left and second one is on right.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
So for this, we have we can go with the couple of options. One is float option, float left and right we can give, or float left to left also we can give, or else the other option we have is display flex. Okay,
Mm.
so float we have already discussed already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we will discuss, okay, display flex. Okay, float we already discussed. If you remember this entire thing also we build with float only. If you observe the code, okay,
Yeah.
this image area is with float left and this welcome area is float right.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you understand float so far, right? So that is the reason I'm
Yeah.
not actually going to tell float anymore. So yeah, I think
Uh-huh.
it's time to talk more about display flex.
Mm.
Okay, so to explain display, okay, so I'm not actually directly start with display flex. Okay, there are other values also with display property. Okay, so now
Mm-hmm.
you can see just when you enter display, you can see there are a lot of properties here: block, contents, flex, flow, flow route, grid, inline, inline block, inline flex, inline grid, inline table, list item, math, and of course the very important thing is none.
Mm.
Okay, there are a lot of properties, but max to max, sorry, lot of values. Okay, not we cannot call this right side thing as a property. So the left side is a property and right side is a value. Try to remember CSS in that way. Whatever
Okay.
that you are seeing left side, that is a property name. Whatever you are seeing the right side, that is a value of the property.
Mm.
Okay, so now
Okay.
once you see the display property and the values as follows like this. But among all of them, we gonna use max 4 to 5 values only in real time. Not so many. Max to 4 to 5. We are not actually going to use all of them.
Mm.
Okay, so in such a case, what are the very important the important values for a display, or what exactly use of the display property? Okay, so for that, what we are going to do is instead of this index.html, we have anyhow about.html, right? For
Mm-hmm.
new no properties and values, we will use this one so that we can complete both of them together. Okay, now let me you remember the first, I think, once I started this session, maybe I don't remember exactly whether it is a second session or third session. I have explained like, there are a plenty of elements or tags in HTML, and we have divided them in a two types. One is block and second one is,
Yeah.
what is that
Element.
second one?
Inline.
No,
In. Oh,
inline.
yeah.
Yeah, block and inline. And I remember, no, I remember, I told you to verify, like, what is the difference between block and inline, right? I hope
Yeah.
you understand the concept. Now it
Yeah.
is the time to explore more. what exactly block and what exactly inline. Okay,
Mm.
so the concept is, I told you there are a few elements where we have where in the web page we have a few elements works as a block element. So what it means by block element is whenever wherever the element starts, okay, whether it is in a on the same line in the HTML document, or maybe in the next line, whenever you see a block element, so the block element always create complete fresh line, or maybe we can we can tell like it forms a new line.
Mm.
Okay, so it won't be part of any of the existing content. Let us say that we have a img here. Let us say src um, image slash we have like this Facebook. Okay, so no matter what, whether we write that another H1 here or straight away here, both H1s works in the same way,
Mm.
because the document doesn't know what is the block element, what is the inline element. Document end of the day, this editor, Visual Studio Code or in Notepad or Notepad plus plus, whatever the editor that we are using, end of the day, the editor doesn't understand that you are going to write inline element or block element. Okay, but which medium or which platform knows that which is the block element and which is the inline element? End of the day, it is browser only. Browser
Oh.
only knows that whether you are writing or whether you return that it is a inline element or block element, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So now if you see that you have written h1 here as well, so maybe you understand that. Okay, first immediately when you open the web page you can able to see the image. Beside this image itself you can able to see some content as per the code that you have written. But what is the reality? No, right? Even though
Mm-hmm.
if you write in the same line of this code, okay, this h1 will always takes new line only, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'll show you one trick here. So this width I'm going to put 100. I'm going to put two images here. So now you tell me in the output how this image is going to visible in the browser. It
It's
is like
gonna
a
be
one by one or side by side.
one by one.
One by one. Okay. So before that, you tell me IMG is a block element or inline element?
It's a inline.
Okay. So if it is a inline, the name itself is telling that it is a inline. Then it will
Oh,
visible on the same line only. Then how can you say that it is coming in a one by one, which is block, right? When you say that one by one, it means a block, right?
yeah.
Yeah. One
Okay.
second. Yeah. Okay. Now tell me how these images are going to visible in the browser.
Um, would it would
Side by
be side
side
by
or line by line?
if it's inline it would be side by side.
Yes, side by side. Now let us verify same thing on the browser itself, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now look at the code carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Let me zoom for you. Let me zoom in. Okay. Now you tell me how these are going to visible now. Line by
Since
line or
div
side by side?
since div is a block element, it will be one by one.
Okay. Now this is the actual behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the advantage of CSS is we can make inline elements to block, block elements to inline.
Mm,
That we can do using with CSS property. That too, what is the main property that we are going to use is display.
okay.
Okay, so now when it comes to this div, what I'm going to do is display inline hyphen block. And when it comes to this div, display inline hyphen block. Now if you see, both has inline block.
Mm,
Okay, now
mm,
we can see that what is the, we have a property of block directly. Okay, we have a
mm,
property, I mean value of display is block. We have a one of the value is a block, and we have a one more value as inline. If we put inline for both of them, it is coming as a side by side. So you are making that block element as a inline here, right?
mm,
And we have a inline hyphen block as well. Now you can see the difference here. What is the difference? Okay, now we covered three of them. One is that block, second one is inline, third one is inline hyphen
inline.
block.
Okay.
Okay, I hope you
Mm-hmm.
understand what it means by block,
Yeah,
right?
I do. Mm-hmm.
So when there is a inline element, make sure to understand my statement. Okay, I'll repeat that again slowly, so try to understand that, and wherever you don't understand that, you can stop me straight away. Okay,
Mm,
so what exactly a display property will do? Let us say we have a inline element. The default behavior of the inline element is we can see all the elements on the same line in the browser. But when you
mm-hmm.
use a display block, the default behavior will be overridden and all the inline elements will be present as block elements because we have applied a property display and the value is block. In the same way, vice versa, if you take block element like a div, paragraph, h1, all these are all block elements only. And if you want to see two divs side by side, you can give display inline, okay, side by
Mm,
side. Okay, so if you understand that we have this, okay, copy this. No, what at all. So what I'm trying to explain here, if you want to make two divs side by side, what you can do? You can use display inline, right?
mm,
So to make two divs side by side, so we have a two options so far we covered, right?
mm,
One is that float, where we can create two divs side by side. If you give a option float left for one div, and even for a second div, you can give float left or float right also. Still, you can see two divs side by side like this. This is the one div and this is the second div. That is a one way to make align two divs side by side. The
mm,
second way is to apply display inline. Okay, So now you get, so far you understand?
Yeah, I think the only one I
Now,
don't understand is inline block. If
yes, I'm coming to that point now.
okay.
I'm coming to that point now. So when you actually give, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these images. Okay,
Mm,
I'm going to remove these images. Now there are two divs here. This is the one div and this is the one more div. Now let me, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write some internal style here. I'm going to target directly div only. So width 100 pixels, height 100 pixels, border 1 pixels, solid, some color I gave. Two boxes we got here, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, even though if you give 100 pixels for both of them, end of the day, it is a block element, right? It
Mm-hmm.
won't allow on the same line. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add display inline. As per the, as per the value inline, what is the expectation? It should, both boxes should be visible on same line, right? When you give a display inline, right?
Yeah.
You're getting my point? But
Yeah.
you are able to see them, the boxes
No.
here.
No.
Yeah, because the point is, and you have to notice one more thing here. When you add a display inline, the width and height properties are showing as something disabled.
Yeah.
So now, yeah, now try to read that. The display inline property prevents width from having an effect.
Mm.
Okay, so the point is when you put a display inline, okay, whatever the
Mm.
width and height you have already given, those are not going to work. But what
Oh.
is your expectation? What is your expectation? You want to see both boxes side by side, but when you try to give a display inline, it is not working. Why? Because the behavior is like that only. Okay, to satisfy that requirement, what we are going to do is instead of that inline, we are going to add inline block. Now you can see.
Yeah.
Okay, when you have a box, when you have some width and height, display inline won't work. But when you have a content, now you understand this, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to,
One thing I don't understand is why the width matters.
okay, so why
Like
width
when
and height is like showing not working, right? That is your question.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it behaves like that only. Now I'm going to show you something. Okay, div,
Mm.
this is div and this is second div. Now I removed all the properties here, whatever I have written for a div, and right now there is no property of width, height, borders or backgrounds. Okay, but as long as you added the content, it shows content only in this way. Okay, now instead of box, if you want to see by default, if you select this div, so it is a block element, it occupies the entire space, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now for this div, what I'm going to do is display inline. Earlier inline is not working, but now inline is working.
Mm.
Okay, why this much of difference that we are seeing here? Because the point is in this div, okay, it's a pure content. There is no box, there is no width, there is no background color, there is no border. As long
Mm.
as all these properties are not there, when we add only content like text, we need only display inline. Display inline is enough to make two divs side by side.
Mm.
But always this is not the case, right? whenever we
Mm,
have something for this div, we may have like width of, let us say that 500 pixels, and height also 500 pixels. But see, if whenever you're adding them, it is showing like disable mode, because
yeah.
this inline property won't support to add width and height. So when this is going to support, because you have to use block only.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay, so
Because in
because it behaves like that only. See, if you remember that we discussed already position property, right?
mm,
Position absolute, you remember?
yeah.
Okay, so without position property, if you use left, right, all these properties, the same way only we found that those properties are actually in a disabled mode. Why? Because that is needed to right, left, right, top, bottom, all these properties. One of the position property is required, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the same way, whenever you want to write display inline, make sure to check you want to create a box, you want to create some space or box or something like that. Then only give width, height, and display property should be inline block.
Mm,
And if it is just a content like this, simple content, and you want to create the simple content in two divs, you want to see a same line. There is no box required, and there is no width, height, and all, not at all required, all of them. So in such a case, you can use simply display inline.
okay.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any question?
No question. So
Okay.
basically, inline can't handle element style?
Inline can handle only, I mean, what is the main purpose for it, right? Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
when you use a display inline, okay, let us start reverse engineering. When you use a display inline, what is your expectation? You want to keep two divs side by side,
Yeah.
or maybe not exactly divs. I'm just taking reference as a divs. So when you use the
Mm-hmm.
display inline property means any of the two block elements. It can be div, it can be paragraph, it can be something like H1 also. So
Mm,
we are, the main purpose is that we are most of the cases we are using divs. Why we are using divs? Because we need some space, right? We need some placeholder. See how, if you remember, if you see this layout, earlier we created this space for left area, for right area, right? Later only we have
mm-hmm.
added one by one here. When you needed
Yeah.
these kind of boxes, definitely this kind of boxes will be done with only divs. Make sure to understand this point. You cannot create a box using with the H1 element. You cannot create a box using with a paragraph element. Those are only suit for text only. When you are putting H1, the browser
Mm,
understands that you are going to add some heading. When you are putting P elements, the browser understands that you are going to add some paragraph on it. These kind of boxes are placeholders, cannot be built with the H1 or paragraph elements, because those are designed purely for a text basis.
okay.
Okay, and when you
Mm,
look into the div element, that is mainly designed to create all these boxes.
mm,
Boxes, I think I remember I already told you all these points. Boxes,
yeah.
blocks, placeholders. So
Mm-hmm.
to keep some content on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now whenever you want to make block elements to inline, okay, if it is a box, you have to use display inline block, because when you use a display inline block, you will see the width, height, and all. If it is a simple text like H1 or paragraph, all this, right? You don't
Uh-huh.
need to use a display inline block. Simply you can use a display inline only.
Okay.
Understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now coming to this point, right? The same point
Mm-hmm.
whatever we did here. So now when it comes to image area, I'm going to remove. float left here, and for this welcome area I'm going to remove float right here. Okay, by
Mm-hmm.
default this is the content area, and you see image area here, width is 50%. As why we are seeing that welcome area at the bottom? Because by default div is a block element only, even though we just applied width only, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is going to occupy that entire space, and the same case applies for a welcome area. Now to make two divs side by side, we found that we have an option as display inline block. Instead of that float, what I'm going to do here is display inline hyphen block. For this welcome area also, display inline hyphen block. Okay, so now if you see image area here we have, and welcome area here we have display inline block and display inline block. We may see that just reduce this width. So let us see how it is going to work. Yeah, see it is there, but
Mm-hmm.
there is some alignment issues that we are seeing when you see this welcome area, right? When you see
Yeah.
this, yeah. So to handle this, what we are going to do is, I think for this content, we may need to give some property of display. Yeah, oh, no, no, not flex. Looks like nothing is working.
Mm.
Okay, no, no,
Fix.
no flex. No, no, no.
Oh.
We'll come to flex point later. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
I think it should work, but I don't know. I don't understand on immediate base. Okay. But the understanding point, what I'm going to tell you here is, we can make, instead of float left, we can do display inline block as well. Okay.
Mm.
So if you see that for both of them, I have used inline black only for this. Okay. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now we'll focus on display flex, how really the display flex is going to work. Before display flex, we have one more property, one more value for a display is none.
Mm.
Okay, one more value is for a display property is none. Okay, we can focus on this sweet green. Now inspect element of this. We have this div where we inserted this logo. For div, what I'm going to do is here is display none. You see this? I have used display none, but you don't see the same element on the web page. But in your code, this will be still there. But
Mm.
we using with a display none, okay, so we can hide that entire element in the browser view, you can say.
Mm.
Okay, you're getting that?
Yeah.
So this is the display none. So there is the same kind of property we have alternative to display none. I have one more property. I'll tell you what is the difference between these two slowly. Okay. Now
Mm.
you can observe this whenever I hover on this div, right? You can at least
Mm.
see the area, how much area it got selected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can see this entire area. Whenever I hover on this, whenever I inspect this div, you can see this entire area, right? Now,
Yeah.
if I use the display none, okay, so I don't see that element now. But even though if you see this div here, you won't see anything
Mm-hmm.
here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the opposite property of display none is visibility hidden. Now you can tell me, like, what is the difference between this display none and visibility hidden?
Is
This
it
is
that
the
the
interview question. This is
mm,
the interview question. They can ask, like, what is the difference between display none and visibility hidden?
visibility would show the block, I'm guessing?
Okay, so first point is, when we are talking about the differences between them, the first point is when you use display none or visibility hidden. Okay, both will work in the same way. So the purpose of them is to hide the element. Okay, to hide the element in browser. That is the first thing. The
Mm-hmm.
second thing, if you talk about the main difference between two of them, when you use a display none, you mean both of them in the code only. Okay, but when you select that the same element, when whatever the element that you have applied display none, when you selected that, you can't inspect that element, how much space it is occupied, or what is the padding or margins we have. We cannot do that when once you apply display none.
Yeah.
But once you apply visibility hidden, the element is going to be hidden, but still it occupies whatever the space it created, right, earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the same. There is no difference in the output, but still the element only going to hide. But when you use a display none, the output also get affected,
Okay.
and you can't inspect the element. See, let us see. Now we can see. Let me now duplicate this, right? So that we can use for this div, we can use display none. Now you can see there is a difference. There is a difference in the output, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that entire element has gone, and if you see that there is some alignment as well, issue as well, and you can't inspect the element. But in the same element, when you see other tab, there is no difference in the output. Output is same. Just this, you cannot see the element here only. Everything is there as it is. There is no difference in
Mm-hmm.
the layout also, right?
Yeah.
You're getting my point?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, great. And there is a one more thing, property which includes this interview question. I hope you
Mm.
understand that visibility hidden and display none, right?
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, before we talk about the third point, we have to understand what is the opposite values for them. Display none. If let's say example, you added a display none, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and let's assume whenever you click a button, again you want to see that
Mm.
there is a requirement, right? You understand that my point? Let us say there is a requirement when page gets
Mm-hmm.
loaded. Okay, by default the element is visible.
Mm.
The element is, I mean, the element itself, it can be anything. It can be logo, button, text, image, whatever it is. I'm addressing only element. You can imagine whatever the element you want. Okay.
Mm.
So the requirement is first, whenever the page gets loaded, end user will see that element, and whenever end user clicks any of the button, the respective button, the element goes away. That is the one requirement in one page. In another
Mm.
page, completely reverse action. When the page gets loaded, you won't see any element, but when you click the button, the elements will be appear again.
Mm.
You're getting my point?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in such a case, what exactly we are going to do? So the first case, when a page gets loaded, we have to show the element. So we don't need to do anything. By default, display will be block only.
Mm.
Okay. By default, the element will be displayed. But when you click the button, what you can do? The same element, you can add a property display none. So that whenever you click on that, the element goes away. By default it will be disabled only. I mean by default it will be enabled only, I mean visible. When you click the button, what you have to do is you have to write a property of display none. When you see other page, okay, by default itself you won't see any element. So by default itself we have to write in the code, in the CSS code itself we have to clearly mention the display none only, so that only by default the property won't be part of the layout.
Hmm.
You're getting my point, Darshana? You're
I think
following?
so. Yeah.
Okay, any question like am I going very speed or
No, it's fine.
okay? Okay, so in the second example, now you tell me in the second example, there is no element in the browser, in the output. Which
Hmm.
property we have to use it?
Display none.
Yes, display none. Okay, and there is a
Hmm.
button, and whenever the requirement is, whenever you click on the button, again the element should be visible.
Hmm.
What is the property we have to use?
Visibility
So
hidden.
the up, no, visibility hidden also will be hide the element, no.
Yeah. Oh, you want to
But
repeat?
what I'm asking, yeah, what I'm asking is by default it will be disabled. I mean, disabled in the sense hide. By default, it will
Mm.
be the image is, I mean, the, by default, the element is going to be hide. Okay, when once page gets loaded. But when you click a
Mm.
button, so it should be appear.
Okay.
So you, okay, by default, when I say that by default it is a disappear, okay, so make sure you have to write display none only. But whenever you want to enable it, what is the opposite value for it is display block only. Display none and display block. When
Mm.
you want to see, use display block. When you don't want to see, use display none. None and block.
Mm.
Remember these two.
Okay.
Okay, to hide the element, if you use display none, okay, that is the way of writing. But to hide the element, when you use a visibility hidden, like this, visibility hidden, what is the opposite value for it? So when you see this,
Mm-hmm.
visibility is visible only.
Mm.
Okay, so when you use the display property, what is the values? Opposite values is none and black. When you use a visibility property, what are the opposite values? Hidden and what is the another
Visi-
thing?
visible.
Visible. Yeah. So when compared with these two, we have a one more property. This is bit different. Opacity.
Mm.
I hope you know this.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Opacity is zero, right?
Yeah, it's still there, but see through.
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah, it's still there. But you can see that 0 when you use a 0. And you can add a point here 0.5. You can see
Mm.
the shades here.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you
Mm.
give value 1, 100% it will be appear. When you give a like 0.2, that means 20% only it will be appear. When you give a
Mm.
0.1, 10%. 0.2 is 20%, 0.5 is 50%, like that. When you give a
Mm.
100% only you are giving.
Mm.
And when you give a 0 straight away, it will be 0 only.
Okay.
Now interview people gonna ask a question in a different way. Now what is the difference between display none, visibility hidden, and opacity 0?
Mm.
Yeah, because if you see, if you're not seeing properties and values, if you see direct output, you don't know what exactly property they have used, because the display none also works in the same way. Same way, this is appear. Yes, there is a difference. I mean, in the layout, right? And
Yeah.
visibility hidden also, it hides the element. And when you put a opacity zero also, it hides the element. Now we understand that what is the difference between visibility hidden and display none. So the main difference is it impacts the layout. When you use a
Mm.
display none, there is a clear impact in the layout. Definitely something gonna be disturbed for sure, because when you arrange everything in between, if something you modified or something you made that display none, obviously there is gonna be impact. Okay, I'll tell you in a different way so that you will get some idea, because this is the interview question, right? So you should
Mm-hmm.
understand this. Let us say I have four boxes here. Okay, now one, two, three, four, right?
Yeah.
Now you tell me, if I give display none to second box, how the output will come?
It won't show.
That I know.
Yeah. But
How it is going to really impact the layout?
um, it's gonna shift over.
Shift over in the
So
sense?
like if that one's gone, then all the properties around it it's gonna go. So the other boxes will shift over.
Yes. So the order will come as 1, 3, 4,
Yeah.
right? It is a
Mm.
clearly layout impact. And if you apply a visibility heading to it, how it is gonna work?
It won't. Um, it'll stay where it is. It just
Mhm.
won't be
But you won't
visible.
see anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you won't see anything. Still the space occupied, the space it occupies, the order is same. One, some space, three, four.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope this much you clear, right? So
Yeah.
now when you give a opacity zero, still it is also becomes same like a
Yeah.
visibility hidden, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a one more property of cursor. Okay, I don't remember what is this pointer. Yeah, cursor pointer. How the
Mm.
cursor pointer is going to work, I'm telling you now. And instead of this opacity, I'm going to use visibility hidden.
That means it
Okay.
won't show,
For
right? Like an
yeah. So
opacity
for
won't
this
show.
yeah. So for this element, right? This is the visibility, and we don't see anything here, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
expected. But when I add opacity 0, see, my element is here.
Yeah.
I changed cursor as a pointer. If there is no cursor pointer, it is a normal only. And
Mm-hmm.
when I enable that cursor pointer, I can sense some element is there, right?
Yeah,
I
because
can
it's
sense
not
some
taken.
element is
It's
there in between. Yeah, in between some element is there, and when I have this, I can add some events in it. I can add some events to it. So when I say that events, obviously it comes from JavaScript standard point of view. When there is no element, still we can apply an event, and when I click on something, still I can apply whatever the events that I want. So
mm,
when opacity is zero, still it allows that the events, but whereas it won't allow when visibility hidden.
oh, I understand. Like,
Okay, great.
yeah.
So now coming to that property of display flex. Very important property. We can handle everything using with the display flex. When it comes to this inspect element, order now, I have a two elements here, 1 and 2. This is the parent element. Make sure to understand that we have to give display flex mostly to the parent elements only. Display flex. Now if I add a flex straight away, what I can see, two elements on side by side. Don't confuse with that always. When I say that two elements, always it is a divs only. It can be anything. It
Mm.
can be div, it can be paragraph, it can be h1, it can be image, anything.
Okay.
Okay. Now when I add a display flex to it, so by default, two elements will be occupied. I mean, occupied this entire parent element, and it is showing a side by side. Right. Now,
Mm.
what is the
Mhm.
exact beauty that we have in display flex? When you click on this box, it is very interesting. Flex editor, we can say, we can call this as a. And when you select this, it will show us that all of option. By default value is row only. Row in the sense horizontal row.
Mm.
Okay. And when you
Mm.
select it for the, I think this is the row, by default value is row. You don't need to give that especially that row, because default value is row. When you see select this one, column,
Mm.
see in this icon itself, you can see in this icon you can see the difference. It is showing a side by side, and it is showing by one.
Yeah.
And when you see this one, row reverse, elements gonna be reverse here, and
Mm.
here as well, column reverse. So end of the
Mm.
day, it is purely based on our requirement, based on the UX design or mockup or Figma link, whatever it is. Based on that only, we have to use this,
Mhm.
right? And by
Yeah.
default, it is a no wrap only. If you want wrap it, you can use this wrap. So the content will come like this. So yeah, okay. Now these are the three important elements that we have is align content, justify content, align items. Now by default values only we have selected here, right? Now when
Mhm.
it comes to align content, yeah, first we'll go with that justify content. Okay, when you see this justify content center, okay, by default it is a normal only. If you add the center, it comes center. Have you seen any difference here? When you have a more boxes, then that time you can see a difference. Okay, that we can tell, that we can discuss
Mm.
later point of time. Align items you can see now, you will see difference now. By default it is a
Mm.
normal, and when you select this, automatically the contents come into center only. This and this both are
Okay.
okay. You got it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So now this display flex and align item center we are going to copy, and just whenever you just focus on this, see how that layout has been divided there, in with the blue color border.
Mm.
I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste in order now, and just reload this page. Nothing else. Okay.
Mm.
Now when we see this text, it is a center aligned. Select this text, H4, write one class for it, and text align, center, font size 20 pixels, font family, you can use something like this, sans serif, font weight normal and line height 20 pixels, or we can increase more, 24 pixels. You understand this?
Yeah.
Okay. So now what you are going to do is, do you have two options here? Okay. One is you can create a one class to H4, okay, and you can add all these properties to this class. That is the one way. And second way is try to apply a class to this parent div, okay.
Mm-hmm.
This parent div class search content, give one class like this and copy this, and at the bottom you create this class with the dot, sorry, space h4. You understand, right? So what we are going to target here is, we are going to target this h4, okay. I don't want to create a one class for h4 and apply here. Instead of that, what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to apply a class to div. Based on the class itself, I'm going to operate h4 element straight away. So I already gave one class to this parent element
Mm-hmm.
which h4 has. So now I'm going to target this h4. So that is the reason I have already created a search content and space h4. So it means I am targeting h4 element where it is located in search content class.
Mm.
Are you getting this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm going to copy all of them. So why, you can ask me, like, I mean, is there any rule that, instead of you can write a one more class for this H4, like, search class or something like that. Yes, we can give, there is no such rule. But why I have created like this? Because we have a H4 and button also. Instead of writing one more class for button, what my plan is to write search content space button, so that whatever the class,
Mm.
that whatever the properties that I can write, straight away I can write it to it. That is my
Mm.
intention. Okay.
Yeah.
So now saving this and reload this page, and coming to this, we have a order now. What is the color of this order now?
It's the same as the other green.
Same as what?
Same as the border for the, yeah, right, like above.
Okay, first, why, okay, I'm seeing that, I'm trying to understand that. Okay, this is the background color. Okay, so now here what I'm going to do is this order now. Okay, see, instead of this H4 center line, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to write a search, I mean, center line for this search content, so that both will be center only. This is the advantage. And instead of writing search textile and center for this H1 and textile and center for this button, no,
Mm.
it is really like, writing a two properties, right? In two
Mm.
places. So search content, I'm going to write textile and center, and here I'm going to remove it.
Mm.
Yeah. So now for this H4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a more space toward to bottom. So margin bottom 30 pixels. And when it
Mm.
comes to this button, I copied somewhere the color, right? This one, and background this one, and text color is what? Color white, and padding is top and bottom. I'm going to give 20, but left and right, okay, not 20, it is more than. I'm
I
going to
think
write 10 and
I gave padding 60, 10.
yeah, I mean, that is fine. We can see that.
Mm.
Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the font size. Font size 20 pixels. Okay, not 20 pixels. Let us use 18. And border radius 16 pixels. Yeah, yeah. We can decrease this font more. So now this field, either we can increase the padding here, or else we can add width also to it.
Mm.
Like this is also way that we have. So we can add a more font padding top and bottom. Yeah, and increase this font one level. Okay,
Mm.
clear?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean we can copy the properties to how they have used it. What kind of properties or what kind of if you see that they have used more border radius here. Looks like
yeah.
uh,
20,
they
I
have used
think.
it more. We can also try that. No issues.
Mm.
Whatever the border radius that they have applied. Yeah, they have applied like a border radius 100 pixels.
I did 50.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that is okay. See, we have actually followed the same border radius. For this we have followed the same thing. That's up to
Mm.
us. Right? So we can use like as the same they mentioned that yeah, 100 pixels also we can use, no issue. So we can add more width, or we can add a padding something like instead of 25 we can add like something like 30. But when we give that width, so it will be restricted to that much only. Okay,
Mm.
this is also that we can build this. So now what I'm going to do is whatever the button that I have, I'm going to write in the same
Cover,
way. I'm going to
cover.
copy this. I'm going to remove H4. I'm going to add button here.
Mm.
Copy all of them straight away and paste them here. Now let us save and reload this page. Okay, we didn't apply the border margin bottom here. Margin bottom 30 pixels. Okay?
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. Any question?
No.
Okay. So we covered this one, right? Okay, yeah. When we hover on this, right,
Yeah.
we can see some different color, different thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, there is a one option that we have, like, we can take a screenshot, or we can, grab this color, what exactly it is. That is the one way. And other
Mm-hmm.
way is whenever we select this button, right?
Mm.
Okay, whenever we are hovering on this only, we are seeing this, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just select this button, and you have a different option here, HOV, CLS and all. And when you selected HOV, there is lot of element states that we have. So far we just covered hover only. Okay,
Mm.
just select this hover. Now whenever you select an hover, you don't see any difference here. But actually whenever you're hovering on this, you can see a different color here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what they have done here is whenever we select a button for this div, I believe they have added that background color, I believe. But even
Mm.
though that is also not happening, I don't know how they made this. Yeah, I don't know how they have applied this.
Does the order, like for CSS, you said there was a certain order to write things, right?
This one,
Like first,
this one.
no, like
Mm.
if you go back to the RCSS, like there's
Mm-hmm.
color, background. So is there an order? Like color has to be first, then font,
No, no,
like
no,
in,
no, 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 no. There is no such certain order for us. We can use anything. I mean, the order you can change anything. But the point is, whenever, let's say example, if you add a, like a one more color here, no,
Mm.
you have used two colors here. It won't show any error because the property itself is right. Okay, there is no, it is not going to show any error even though you have write like two or three times, twice or thrice. But the
Mm.
point is we have to understand whatever you have written at the last, that is only going to work. The first one going to be ignored.
Mm.
Okay, now we have written first initially white, then after black, right? Now if you see this black white color going to become as a black color. Oh, no, this is not our layout. See,
Mm.
because same property we have used, but the value we have changed.
Okay.
Okay, this is going to be work. But in reality, what is going to happen, the behind screens I'm telling. Okay,
Mm.
when let us say example, so this entire HTML code, whenever we write this HTML code and ask browser to execute it. Okay, let us assume that imagine that I'm the browser. Okay, so if I
Mm.
receive some HTML and CSS code, how I'm going to read that, like line by line. I'll check line by line. Okay, I'll
Mm.
check, when it comes to HTML head, okay, meta title, okay, title I have. So first I need to show UA session of the UA session as the title for this window. Then after it will check that link relation style sheet. Okay, now I'm just imagine that I am the browser. How I think. Okay,
Mm.
okay, there is a style.css and we'll check this link. If the link is going to work, whatever the CSS that we have is everything, it will grab, the browser is going to be grab and apply whatever the classes that we are written here, and it will find that whether the same class is there or not. If the same class is there, the respected properties and values will going to be applicable here. Okay, so in
Mm.
the same way, line by line is going to work and takes that whatever the CSS class we have in the CSS, right? So it will take the required class names from the CSS if they are exist in CSS file. So in the same way, when it comes to this search button, okay, as I told you, it will be apply like a line by line. It will be execute by line by line. So initially it will be execute white color only.
Mm.
Initially it will execute white color only. And after reading one by one, when it comes to last, again it will see that okay, I have already this color property again. Okay, but what is the value? Whether it is the same value or different value also it will check. If it is a different value, it will execute the different value only. This is the
Mm.
behind screen how the browser thinks. But in reality, it not even taking this much of time, whatever I have explained like one by one, right? It won't take that much time also. It will execute in a fraction of seconds, right? Maybe
Mm.
sometimes milliseconds as well, right? You're getting my
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any question do you have?
No
Shall we
question.
stop or shall I continue any of the other topic?
We can stop for now.
Okay, fine. So okay, how about your plans and weekends? So how about like tomorrow and day after tomorrow and Monday? Are you going to be
Um,
available or do you have any plans?
I have plans tomorrow. Um, I can do maybe Sunday.
So you are going to be available on Sunday, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. How about Monday?
Monday, yeah. Wait, let me check.
Okay, you need to
Monday,
check your.
yeah.
Hmm,
Mm, yeah, I don't have plans.
okay. Then we can check on. We can connect on Monday only.
Okay.
What do you have plans? Sunday, no. I mostly I won't prefer to explain the classes. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it any of the day, except
No,
for Saturday and
we can,
Sunday.
yeah, we can do
Yeah, we can connect on. Sorry.
mm, we can do Monday, or actually it would be, your Monday would be different,
No,
I
no. I
think.
mean, it is a Monday. I mean, Monday, not like that. No. So Monday, IST 9 p.m.
I see. Okay. Monday.
9 p.m.
That
How
would be
about it?
my,
Maybe it is
that would be
morning
my
time, right?
Sunday morning, yeah. Or no, yeah, Monday morning.
No, no, no. For you also it is Monday morning only, no? Why you are
Yeah, Monday
confusing?
morning.
Okay. When actually, when we connected in India morning time, that is definitely gonna be a difficult. But when we connect
Mm,
in Indian time, that too in evening times, right? Definitely the day, same day only. You will have the same day only, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it will be like a for sure. It will be like a Monday morning. But I
Mm,
don't know exact like how much time. Whether now it is time saving. I mean, what is that we used to call that daylight save or something, right?
daylight. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it is 1.5 hour or 2.5 hour difference gonna be there.
Mm, but yeah,
Fine. Yeah.
Monday should work.
Fine. Anyhow,
Yeah.
yeah. Fine. We'll connect on Monday. No issues for me. So yeah,
Okay.
make sure to practice these Darshana. Otherwise, yeah. So because we're discussing like one by one, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else is pending for we have in the main layout right now? Okay, so this one we have a pending. We can cover this, and of course this one. And there
Mm,
is no much in bottom because it is the end of the day.
yeah.
It is a links only.
Yeah.
Hardly we can complete this and this entire thing, in one day. Like how in real time, how we are going to give these links and in these anchor links, and how we are going to give these gaps and all. So we are going
Mm-hmm.
to look into that new HTML elements and as well as new properties. So I think one session is enough to cover this footer.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then after we'll
Right.
look into this, on top of the image, how we gonna place the text and all.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Also, how am
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
do I get the email for the